Hello and welcome back to Shakesyear. We are working on The Rape of Lucrece, which is a very long poem about sexual violence towards women and suicidal ideation. So if either of those is a trigger for you, I would recommend tuning out. If you're going to listen to today's stanzas, though, we're going to take a look at stanzas 209 to 212, which Lucretia is looking at this painting. She's been looking at this painting for a couple days of our getting through this poem, but she's been looking at it for a little while because she needed something to distract her while she waits for her husband to come home. So she was looking at this painting, and it's of the war in Troy over Helen of Troy, and she was looking at all these various faces, and everybody's painted so well, but nobody captured her grief until she saw the character of Hecuba, who is grieving over Priam, who Pyrrhus has just slain, and she sees in Hecuba the same grief that she is currently feeling. And stanza 209 picks up there saying, "On this sad shadow Lucrece spends her eyes, and shapes her sorrow to the beldame's woes, who nothing wants to answer but her cries, and bitter words to ban her cruel foes. The painter was no god to lend her those, and therefore Lucrece swears he did her wrong, to give her so much grief, and not a tongue. Poor instrument," quoth she, "without a sound. I'll tune thy woes with my lamenting tongue, and drop sweet balm in Priam's painted wound, and rail on Pyrrhus that hath done him wrong, and with my tears quench Troy that burns so long, and with my knife scratch out the angry eyes of all the Greeks that are thine enemies. Show me the strumpet that began this stir, that with my nails her beauty I may tear. Thy heat of lust, fond Paris, did incur this load of wrath that burning Troy doth bear. Thy eye kindled the fire that burneth here, and here in Troy, for trespass of thine eye, the sire, the son, the dame, and daughter die. Why should the private pleasure of some one become the public plague of many more? Let sin alone committed light alone upon his head that hath transgressed so. Let guiltless souls be freed from guilty woe. For one's offense, why should so many fall to plague a private sin in general?" So the first of these stanzas is more discussion of Lucrece empathizing with Hecuba and starting to get a little bit angry with the painter, because for all of Hecuba's grief, she's not able to say anything about it or cry about it or do anything. She doesn't have a voice. She doesn't have a tongue. She's a painting, obviously. But in her own grief, Lucretia, in the following three stanzas, says, I'll speak for you, and I will cry for you, and I will get angry at Pyrrhus for you, and I will drown Troy in tears for you. And then she keeps building on that anger, that momentum, that grief, saying, show me Helen so I can make her less pretty so that they don't have to have war over her. Paris, this is all your fault for wanting Helen and taking her and all that. This is you. All of this whole painting happened because of you, because you couldn't control your lust. And she continues on, building on that, being angry with Paris for allowing his singular transgression to start a war, which, yeah, she's like, why should one man's pleasure end up plaguing so many people and end up injuring and being the downfall of so many other people just because one man couldn't keep it in his pants? So she's not quite done being angry with him yet. And it's anger that she's saying that it's about Paris, but it's not about Paris. And I think we all know that. But anyway, there'll be more of that in tomorrow's stanzas. I'll see you then. Mwah.